Get started here in just a little bit. Sound check. Sound check. And make sure it's the right one. Yeah, we're good now. All right, folks, we are on here on Rumble and Facebook. You can find me on there. This is King with Just the Right Angle. I am back. That was some music from Mr. Kitty. My favorite songs. I'm going to have to pause this, otherwise it'll work us. Well, folks, I took a 2-week vacation. First was preparing for a wedding and then attending the wedding and then honeymoon afterwards. So had a wonderful time. I married the lovely Rebecca DeWitt, who, by the way, is, like me, heavily involved in fighting for the freedom of the U.S. of A. Then I'm back to do my Wednesday broadcast every Wednesday at 12:35. I title this ARGOP Committees and Illegal Alien Deaths. Top story, really big story, what happened yesterday is Donald Trump had a press conference that involved several of the several officers who later endorsed him. And it's the issue of the destruction of the United States of America via illegal immigration. Illegal immigration has been causing damage to this nation for decades. It's resulted in the massive increase in the usage of narcotics. Massive amount of death have occurred from illegal alien crime. Everything from wages to the increases on your taxes. It's all from illegal immigration. A lot of it stems from the bad leadership we have in office. It's because illegal aliens are allowed to vote. And one of the things in particular that I have focused on with this issue is the fact that illegal immigration was for a long time an issue that I was involved in when I first started in my little group, Keep Arkansas Legal. We had to lobby against none other than Mike Huckabee, former Republican governor of Arkansas, to stop in-state tuition for illegal aliens. And in the middle of that fight, we had to lobby Democrats and Republicans. This was back when the Democrats still had a majority of the state legislature. But there were some Republicans, but there were enough Republicans and enough political pressure to stop this sort of giving discounts to people that shouldn't even be in the country, while veterans and legal residents were not allowed such amenities. But illegal immigration has become a major issue now, due to the fact that, number one, Trump was making at least somewhat of an effort to reduce illegal immigration, but now it's been massively increased again under Biden and his handlers. And I have to say handlers because Joe Biden is not the president of the United States. Not just due to the fact that the election was stolen, but due to the fact that he hasn't made a decision on his own probably decades. Should have been removed from the U.S. Senate years ago after his lying in his last run for president. But we're stuck with him right now, and sadly, we're stuck with the people that he's put into power. The ones who, Alexander Soros, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the various factions that run things, the real people behind the scenes, the ones you don't know about, the deep state, the ones that are going after Trump. Those are the ones that really write the laws. The consultant class that I've talked about often. And one of the things that the consultant class love to do is they are definitely for illegal immigration. Welcome to those who join me on Podbean. Podbean is a broadcasting system that is similar to that to bypass radio. And I have actually had a little bit of difficulty getting on there, but just got on there. You can follow me at Just the Right Angle on Rumble, as well as YouTube, Keep Arkansas Legal, on Facebook, and on Podbean. I'm actually going to put all three of the links to that up in just a second. What I'm sharing with you now is a story from Breitbart, and he's wanting to spotlight these victims because oftentimes the media does everything in their power to pretend these people don't exist when it's found out that they were killed by someone who shouldn't have been in the country. And this was a campaign speech in Grand Rapids, Michigan. One of the reasons why he's in Michigan is because it is a battleground state, but it's also a place where another person was killed by an illegal alien. These are known as angel families. I've worked with these people before. I've actually worked alongside them to pass a bill in Arkansas to stop the funding for sanctuary cities. And we were sabotaged by Republicans. But this is a person, Ruby Garcia, was killed in Grand Rapids. Leah Gomez was killed in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The most famous, more famous one that has happened a while ago was Laken Riley. And you hear some of the names that you should have heard that are more important than the stupid druggie George Floyd. But because George Floyd was part of a narrative and these people weren't, these people were forgotten. So Ruby Garcia, Leah Gomez, Laken Riley. Many of these people have had multiple, besides violating the immigration laws, also violated multiple laws beforehand. So should have been either jail and then deported, but instead were let go. Lisbeth Medina, Nazareth Timur Klaur, Maria Rios, Brenda Altman and Terry Altman, killed by an illegal from Haiti. So it's not just Mexico. They're from all over the world. An 11-year-old Aiden Clark killed by an illegal alien that was driving. That's how actually more of the deaths occur. A 2-year-old Jeremy Caceres. An 11-year-old Maria Gonzalez. By the way, most of these you notice are Hispanic names. Now, there's a bunch of organizations that claim to care about Hispanics. LULAC, League of United Latin American Citizens. La Raza means the race in Spanish. But they don't really care. And there's all kinds of Hispanic activist groups. There's some here in Arkansas. There was one called the Arkansas Friendship Coalition. I think now I think they now call themselves United Justice. They don't care about these people. They dismiss them. And it's an annoyance to them when you even mention this issue. And sadly, what's going to happen is these kind of deaths have occurred in Arkansas are going to occur again. And it's because the Republican Party, for a large part in the state of Arkansas, is still run by what we call Republican in name only, or rhinos. It's been very difficult to pass even basic legislation regarding stopping illegal immigration in the state. As I mentioned before, Arkansas Sanctuary City, there was a bill to ban Arkansas cities. Sanctuary cities, or for those who don't know, are cities that do everything in their power to stop. They refuse to report immigration law. When a person commits a crime, instead of holding them in place in jail and then having them deported, which is what you should do, instead they decide to let them go and refuse to report to them immigration. And because of that, you get a lot more crime just in the fact that illegal aliens are let go, and then as news spreads, more people realize that they can get away with crime, so they show up. So more illegal aliens swarm an area, and that's why you're seeing in a lot of these blue cities like New York, Chicago, and even before, a lot of Republican governors would move these illegals to these places. Illegals were going there in large numbers because it attracted them. And so several states, and oftentimes this would be done by cities, because the problem is a lot of your cities, even in red states, are actually run by leftists. That's one reason why they're falling apart, is because these cities you'll have a red state. People will know who their congressman is, their state legislature is, but they won't know who their mayor is. They won't know who their city councilman is. And this is one example. This is an Angel Mom, Kathy Hall. Who testified on this bill. It was SB 411 that was done. What year was this? Let me see here. This was 4 years ago. And by the way, we had a Republican supermajority at this time, which means the Republicans not only ran the state legislature, but they ran it in a way where the Democrats could have no way to stop anything. Now, I had just testified on this, but you can see this again on Keep Arkansas Legal. This is an Angel Mom, Kathy Hall story regarding sanctuary cities, and I'm going to play this. let you hear it.
Central Arkansas, and to speak for myself, not for any particular organization.
Now, the full disclosure, what happened here was this committee was supposed to meet, I think, one day before. It was April 8th that this committee was supposed to meet, and Kathy Hall herself was supposed to testify. But what happened is the legislature first rescheduled, and then they voted down the bill. And several legislatures decided to conveniently be absent. So in other words, Republicans decided to hide from having to vote on this bill. And what happened was people like me and Jan Morgan and Linda Collins Smith, who was at the time a state senator, who was later on murdered, and several other activists got on the phone lines, got on the emails, and contacted these legislators demanding that A, they rehear this bill, and B, that they bother to show up. And we had to put all kinds of political pressure to make sure that this bill would get the hearing that it needed. And again, this is a Republican majority. So here, and this is actually, so because Kathy Hall herself, she lives up in Fayetteville, she wasn't able to come down, and she can't reschedule to come down when the legislature changes things. I had to tell her story.
I did want to read the entire letter, but I won't be able to. It's Kathy Hall, mother of Haley King. She wanted to fly here to speak on this, was unable to due to scheduling issues. Haley was killed riding a scooter by Sergio Rodriguez from a 71 to 35 zone in Fayetteville, 2016. This is one of the examples of where these sanctuary city style policies that ended up harming someone. I know that during yesterday there was claims that illegal aliens don't commit such crime as legal immigrants or as citizens. That's only a half truth. Legal immigrants, on by far, commit less crime. However, illegal aliens, basically this.
If you hear about a stat about illegal aliens, about immigrants not committing crime, that's a half truth. Immigrants don't, but illegal aliens do. And of course, cowardly politicians will try to mask one by, will try to claim that, well, because immigrants don't commit crime, that it's actually okay to allow illegal migration. And I'm putting the link to this video on this broadcast on both, if I can find it, my Facebook and Rumble broadcast, so you can watch it later and share it with others. And again, this is just one tiny example of the fight we've had to do. And after having a Republican majority legislature regarding this issue. Well, let me play some more of this.
Sanctuary policy has been passed in several states, including Texas, for the last year. More lawsuits. Mr. Chair, point of order.
Okay, have a point of order. Please keep your comments about the cities themselves and what the bill is doing with the city as far as sanctuary cities. This is not about immigrants. This is not about anything, even though, I know that you listen to the other side, so please stay with sanctuary cities.
Representative Richmond, yes, please stick with the bill if you would, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Anyway, as I said, the sanctuary city bills have been passed in other states before, and they were passed in Texas last year, and resulted in, so far, it's been a success in terms of at least stopping some of these efforts. There are sanctuary policies happening across the state. As mentioned before, there are IDs that have been given by the Mexican consulate, the Guatemalan consulate. Oftentimes, police officers in stopping illegal aliens are often presented with these different IDs. They're having to deal with this issue. I would encourage for this piece of legislation to be put forth before the House and a chance to vote on. I do think that the committee for at least giving people the chance to speak on yesterday. There were a lot of people cited yesterday didn't get that chance. But again, sanctuary bills that ban sanctuary policies are something the American people want across the state, the nation, and particularly across the state. I'll be happy to answer any questions there.
Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, speaking against the bill, Laura Adams.
And by the way, you can see other examples of this. You type in, if you go to Keep Arkansas Legal and type in sanctuary, you'll see all kinds of footage of this testimony. And the more hearings regarding in the state Senate. But again, this was a fight that we had to go through, and again, a Republican majority legislature, as well as we had a so-called Republican governor. I believe it was Asa at the time, Asa Hutchinson. But if we had not put political pressure on our Republican legislators, that bill would have probably failed, and we would be having several of these cities, Little Rock, I know for sure, that would be still pushing officially for sanctuary cities. And I say officially because what's happening now is I know North Little Rock is issuing IDs to illegals, and they're calling it, IDs for like homeless and immigrants, but it's actually for illegal aliens. They're just not calling it sanctuary cities, but it is one. And that's the kind of scam we're having to deal with. So, of course, what do you do? How do you solve this problem? Obviously, if I talk about this and don't have a way to solve this problem, I'm wasting time. So, best way to solve this problem is to reform Republican committees, kick out the Rhino consultant class, replace them with real conservatives, and have those conservatives push for reforms that have an effective Republican Party. There's no time or resources to fake an effective third party. The libertarians, most of them don't care about this. They're too busy bashing conservatives and Christians to really care about this or many other issues. And, there's other parties, the Constitution Party, the Patriot Party, they just don't have the name recognition and the resources to deal with fighting against the globalists that want to push this illegal immigration scourge all over the nation. And of course, to do that in an effective way, you need to get involved. Now, here's one example of what I'm talking about. The Republican Party of Arkansas is doing a state committee meeting on May the 18th, only a few days before, is to change the rules regarding state committees and the state convention. Now, this is a longer video. This is by Conduit News. I won't play all of this because it does take some time, but this is, and they've talked about this before. May 18th, they're going to have the RPA Rules Committee is going to change what Republican state committees can do regarding not recommending of some politicians. Asa Hutchinson, for instance, when he ran for president, we know for a fact that he was a Republican in name only. It took a lot of political pressure to get him to sign the bill to end sanctuary cities. We know that he made no effort. As a matter of fact, I believe he was part of the effort to sabotage the bill from ever getting in that committee. We know for a fact he did that with the Stand Your Ground laws. He even admitted to sabotaging Stand Your Ground. He is pro pedophile LGBT agenda. When it comes to the SAFE Act, he vetoed that bill. I think he would have vetoed the bill that banned these mentally disturbed men who dress up as women from women's sports, if not for political pressure. He never led the effort on that. But anyway, the Republican Party Rules Committee wants to make it so that the county or GOP county committees and teenage Republicans, young Republicans chapters across the state have to basically obey and support the politician, no matter how much of a rhino of a sellout they actually are. Another change would actually sabotage the state convention. It would make it harder to pass rule changes in the Arkansas State Convention. I don't even believe they have the right to do this because an organization, a convention, should have the right to change its own rules, not just be decided by an elite committee. So these are the members of the Rules Committee, and you can contact them and let them know to oppose these changes. And especially if you know these people, call them up and let them know you don't want these rule changes, either one of them. Here, I'll play a little bit of this. Worked with him before.
The Republican Party of Arkansas recently sent out the call to the state meeting, which included proposed rules changes as well as committee appointments. Here to break it down for us is 2nd District Congressional Chairman Jennifer Lancaster. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Jenny.
Thank you so much for coming in the studio to join us.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, well, there is a lot to break down. We've got, as I mentioned, proposed rules changes, new appointments to committees, and there's just a few overarching themes that I think our people, our viewers really want to hear about. And I think that you're a wonderful person to talk to us about it. So first, let's talk about the call. The call was sent out Monday, January 22nd, pretty early to send out. I don't think it's been sent out this early before, 107 days before the meeting. Talk to us about that.
That's right. And you're right about the 107 days in advance. That is unusual. From the people that I've spoken to that have been in the party for a very long time, they have never seen a call sent out this early. And I think it's interesting to note that within the rules, our RPA rules, if you look at Article 4, Section 4B, it says that no action shall be taken by the state committee unless the proposal shall have been set forth in the written notice calling the meeting. So what it could arguably effectively do is it cuts off the people's ability to submit proposed rule changes. And so that in itself is interesting. I think also we need to notice that these state committee meetings, in large part, they are comprised of elected officials, constitutional officers, etc. Now, they differ from the state convention in that the convention, we see more grassroots people. Mm-hmm. And so part of these proposed rule changes have a couple of interesting effects if they're passed. Well, the first one, let's actually talk about the second one, just because I think that flows. So the second one that has been proposed, it is what it's going to do, if passed, it will require a 2/3 vote of the state convention to pass any proposed rule changes or platform changes. That historically and currently, it has always been half.
Yeah.
Again, this is a meeting that is held every 2 years, and it is where the people, it is comprised largely of the people, the grassroots folks, the people that go and attend your county committee meetings. They're really involved. They're out there promoting the candidates and working for the party out in their communities. And so this is their opportunity once every 2 years to come in and have a say. And so it has always been such that it only takes half of the people present to pass a rules change or a platform change. But under this proposed rule change, it will now raise that threshold to 2/3. Also, the people that are voting on this increased threshold are going to be mostly elected officials and elected people in the party.
Yeah.
So anyway, you kind of get the gist of this. Basically, the elitists, the ones who want to keep more illegal aliens entering into the state, the ones who want to allow these mentally disturbed leftists to convince children to change their gender, because supposedly some companies, it'll supposedly attract business. I think whatever other excuse they have. They want to sabotage the efforts of we, the people, to make the Republican Party a true conservative machine that protects kids, that protects women, that protects gun rights, that protects our Bill of Rights. And that's the kind of fight that's going on. This fight's going on all across the nation. the Nebraska GOP, Nebraska Freedom Coalition, for instance, they've had a lot of fights regarding them, their efforts to rid themselves of rhinos. They had a convention where they had they had a fight. They actually arrested some conservatives, and they're right now doing a fight regarding another issue. Regarding winner take all system for electing president and vice presidential candidates, electoral votes. So, that goes. So again, these local officials, they have a lot of effect on what happens regarding the president. We know the last election was stolen in large part because of county clerks and secretaries of state, some of which are Republican, who failed to do their job. Here it is. I'll read this. Under the direction and control of patriots and the any GOP, not the old establishment guard with millions in funding, this filibuster-proof majority was hard-earned. Don't let the establishment made a cuts take any credit. We, the people, woke up and took Nebraska back. Nebraska's unicameral legislature now has a filibuster-proof Republican majority, as Senator Mike McDonnell switches party from Democrat to Republican. This has massive implications for passing LB 764, which would switch Nebraska to a winner-take-all electoral college and block Joe Biden's easiest path to the presidency. And this is when Charlie Kirk. This was just a while ago. 27 minutes ago. And same thing with Arkansas. We were a Democrat-run state, and it was conservatives, not the consultants, not Impact Management, not Caldwell Consulting, not any of the Rhino, Call Rove type consultants who seem to talk behind our back and seem to do this other rule change stuff like what's going here. It was conservatives like me and Linda Collins Smith and Jan Morgan and Jeannie Bolsworth and Scott Gray and so many others, Jennifer Lancaster, the folks that run Conduit News, Joe Maynard, Brenda Foster Taylor, and so many others who donated their time and efforts and money without getting paid by the RNC or the Republican Party of Arkansas, that turned this state red, and now have turned it super majority red. And we want results. We want to, honestly, it needs to be a crime to be taking kids as young as 4 and trying to convince them to change their gender. And no, I'm not just making that age up. That's actually a video under testimony by Natalie, pediatrician Natalie Burr. If you type in Arkansas Natalie pediatrician on Rumble or YouTube, you can see the testimony where she's asked, at what age do you think that people should be able to change their gender? And she decides 4. And sadly, what's going to happen is because of the weakness of the Republican Party, it's probably going to be another Lake and Riley death here in Arkansas. And it may have already happened. But of course, the media will try to hide it. But if it becomes viral, that's probably what's going to take to reform the Republican Party and bypass the mainly the Arkansas Chamber of Commerce and the other organizations that try to keep illegal immigration alive in the state. So that's why I have at the bottom right a graph of this image right here. This is a illegal alien victim and the people that killed him. People, again, who should have never been here. And in many cases, even after they commit a horrific crime of murder in these sanctuary cities, like this guy right here who killed Kate Steinle, he got off on murder. I think he only got a gun charge. And that's just the shocking reality we're in now. And it's because of Democrats and weak, cowardly Republicans. So the thing I've also posted now up is one of the fights that we're having to deal with, of course, Arkansas Learns. This is a push that was done by Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And this is a small effort to reform the education system, which is, last time I checked, the largest spending item in the Arkansas budget, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, we have a fiscal session going on next week, and there's a lot of cuts that need to be made. But this is just some hearings that are, the lovely Rebecca gave me information on this. The Learns actually, it's going to have, the Arkansas Learns Act is going to have some proposed rule changes. The DESE rule governing public school choice of public comment hearing days is April 17th, 10 a.m. And then another hearing at 1 p.m. And then April 18th, they're going to have hearings at 10 and 1. It looks like they're going to do the same thing and April 19th. And this will be done at the Arkansas Department of Education Archford building for Capitol Mall. I think it's at the Capitol Complex. I think it's the gray building behind the Arkansas State Capitol, if I'm not mistaken. I've put the basic details of this and a website that you can go to and a phone number you can call for more details of this. Just want to announce it as one of the many political events coming up. As I mentioned before, next Wednesday, I believe, is the start of the Arkansas fiscal session, where they're going to decide millions of dollars. I've asked this before. Will they cut the funding to leftist judges like Tim Fox and Chris Piazza? Are they going to cut the funding to things like the Arkansas library system, which is so far still trying to indoctrinate little kids into the destructive LGBTQ lifestyle? They're trying to they want to turn your kids into faggots. That's what they want to do. They've been caught doing it multiple times, multiple levels. If you've seen Saline County Library debate, you've seen that. We've tried to fight against the same here in Pulaski County, but the Republican supermajority has the ability to decide whether or not state tax dollar funds are going to go to people who want to turn your kids into faggots. You can call your legislature, tell them to find out about that. You can look at the budget yourself, proposed budgets. You can look at last time's budget and see what's going there. If there's money going to the state library system, and there is, I think it's around $17 million. Last time I checked. I haven't checked Sarah Huckabee's new budget, but double check that. Yeah, that's where it goes to. And there's lots of other things they need to cut the funding to. Any green projects, any effort to reduce carbon footprint. We do not need to be tax money going to that. And by the way, this is how you get tax cuts that you can afford. I know Kansas tried to do tax cuts, but they didn't cut spending, and then they blew their budget, and then all the leftists run around and say, see, look, tax cuts don't work. Tax cuts do work if you cut government spending. So, again, I've posted, this is on my Facebook. Right now I'm sharing the Facebook broadcast of this, and you can see here these rule changes. And then one other thing that's going on, it's actually non-political. It's not even really, I don't know what, it's just something I'm kind of somewhat interested in. Most people are as well. There is an Arkansas solar eclipse. It's going to be happening this coming Monday. Now, I don't know if there has been any changes. It's supposedly, let's see, is it April 8th, 2024. I'm trying to see a time from this. The eclipse will begin at 12:33 and at 3:11. Totality will be at 1:51. So the Conway is supposed to be in the middle of it. I think, there's the Ida Mountain is supposed to be in the middle of it. Mountain View. So sometimes it'll be, it'll last, an hour or two. Sometimes it'll make a few minutes. Pencil Bluff, I don't even know where that is. There you go. So if you want to be in the middle of an eclipse, southeast Arkansas will kind of be missed out. It's going to cut through basically the middle. 12:33 to 3:11, around 2 o'clock. Be in Little Rock. You can see here. Oh, here's one has much better pathway of it. Yeah, I guess you can look at there and see the how long it's going to be if you're going to be in the middle of it. But anyway, it's supposed to be April 8th. Now there's multiple maps that show this. This one's kind of more of a nationwide map. So if you're outside of Arkansas, let me see if I can blow this up. No, I don't want email. I'm trying to blow this thing up, and there we go. There we go. You can see there the dates and the times. And again, 1:50, not quite 2 o'clock is going to be where it's going to be. You can see it right there. All the way up. My parents are up in Harrison. They'll probably be able to see it. Again, there, I think Texarkana. You'll see it down there. I suppose if you want to, you could do a road trip. You just drive along. You go down I-30. You have to Little Rock and follow it all the way down to Mexico. And here it's supposed to intersect. I don't know how exactly the eclipse works. Supposedly you can see kind of both of them right around San Antonio area. But anyway, that's about it. Y'all, again, like, share, and comment. I've posted on my links here, my different ways to get to find me. I'll post events. I've been, like I said, out of the political scene for a while. If you like what you see, you can fund more video projects. I have Cash App, Ko-fi, Fundly, Amazon Link, and PayPal. These are some of the, I mentioned some of these groups before. They've been fighting for your freedoms for a while. They need money. Do not donate to the Republican Party of Arkansas. It is still run by leftists. The RNC recently had some firings, but I kind of would question. I kind of would hold off on donating to them until I know they fired a lot of the consultant class. It's just a little uneasy right now regarding that issue. But other than that, y'all have a good day and try to find a way to get involved.